Now, Eyewitness News NightBEAT.
Good evening. Police and fire crews are very busy in Newington tonight.
That's right. A strange odor forced them to evacuate part of a condominium complex tonight. This is a developing story. The scene is still active. Let's get you right out there now. NightBEAT reporter Dennis House live in Newington. Dennis, what's the latest?
Well, just a couple minutes ago, the fire department gave the all clear to residents here, and that's why you see all this traffic behind me. Many residents are now returning to their homes here at the Apple Hill condominium complex, although the fire department is still here. And this happened, of course, after they determined that the strange odor that forced many from their homes and made some of their neighbors ill was caused by a pesticide. This woman was one of several residents of the Apple Hill condominium complex who breathed in some mysterious, strange fumes.
It was a very strong chemical smell. Something at times it almost felt like a little choking feeling. I'm experiencing a little bit of a sore throat right now, but nothing major.
When I was taking a walk earlier, I did notice I did feel like my chest hurt, but I thought I was having a heart attack or something.
It happened around 8:30. Firefighters rushed to the scene and began evacuating residents. Many grabbed their pets and headed for shelters set up at a pair of fire stations.
He seems okay, you know. But, you okay?
Investigators almost immediately determined this was no gas leak and instead suspected pesticide. Later, they pinpointed the odor to this, a bottle of a pesticide sold at any hardware store. It was sprayed by a neighbor.
He had been doing some spraying with something called malathion 50, which is an over-the-counter insecticide. What we can determine at this point is that he was using it according to the instructions.
Now, even though this is a common chemical, we're told the problem occurred after the man sprayed it, and because there was no wind, it sort of wafted into some people's homes and sort of was stagnant for a while, and that's why some people became ill. We're told that some people here who have been waiting outside are still unaware that they're allowed to go into their homes because they haven't been watching TV and they can't get a hold of everyone. Some people are just finding out right now, and you see all the cars are returning from those people who have found out, but we're told there were no serious injuries. That woman that you saw being carried off in a stretcher is now at New Britain General Hospital. We're told that she's going to be okay. Al?
So you can't smell anything there right now, Dennis, huh?
No, you really can't. And some of the neighbors say that they couldn't smell anything, and most people who live here who were evacuated couldn't smell a thing. We're told that the people who live right near where this insecticide was sprayed may still be able to smell something tonight, but they say there's no danger at all. The DEP has come in and said that this is not a dangerous chemical. Unless you drink it or swallow it or breathe right over it, you really won't be affected. And it is starting to dissipate a little bit. They're trying to wash some of it away, but residents are being allowed in. And if any are concerned, a firefighter will accompany them to their condo unit and check everything out and make sure it's okay for them.
All right, terrific. Dennis House live in Newington tonight.
A suspicious fire in New Haven leaves 20 people out in the street tonight. The police and fire officials say a three-family home on Henry Street was burned so badly residents can't go back in. Right now, the Red Cross is on the scene helping people find shelter. Arson investigators are also there sifting through the ashes looking for a cause. A Waterbury home was nearly destroyed by fire tonight. Smoke and flames shooting from this two-family home on West Main Street had firefighters scrambling. They're still on the scene. Onlookers lining the street said they couldn't believe the dramatic scene. Authorities say they still don't know how the fire started. No injuries were reported.
Arson may be to blame for another fire tonight in a vacant Hartford building. This was a scene earlier at the soon-to-be demolished Charter Oak Terrace housing project, where investigators say arson has been an ongoing problem. But damage was minimal this time, and no one was hurt.
Hartford police tonight searching for the person who killed a man right in the middle of the Puerto Rican festival yesterday in Pope Park. Police said 25-year-old Enrique Ramirez was shot once in the back. He later died at Hartford Hospital. Now tonight, people living near the park say they're angry a murder happened so close to home.
A 17-year-old from Willimantic, Gregory Gilday, is free on bond tonight after being charged with raping a woman during the raucous spring weekend parties at Yukon. The victim told police she was attacked in a wooded area near the Carriage House Apartments, and it happened April 25th, the night of all the arrests for vandalism, underage drinking, and assaults, including an attack on a state trooper.
Police still not releasing the names of the two victims killed in this car accident yesterday in New Haven. The two died when their car smashed through a guardrail and became airborne while they were on the Route 34 connector.
A significant milestone in the news tonight is for the family of a New Haven cab driver who was murdered 7 years ago in a robbery attempt. Tonight, Alan Hansen's two daughters received their diplomas from Brantford High School. NightBEAT reporter Tracy Martinez was there. She joins us now live. Tracy?
Al, the Hansen girls overcame many obstacles to graduate from this high school. They did it without their father. They had to because he was murdered 7 years ago. It should be one of the happiest days of their lives. But for Amy and Heather Hansen, their graduation is overshadowed by what is missing.
I worked extra hard to finally get it. But, I mean, it was great and not so great at the same time because my dad wasn't here.
7 years ago, Heather and Amy's dad, Alan Hansen, a New Haven cab driver, went to work, but he never came home. His body was found next to his cab in a school parking lot. He'd been shot in the head by 2 teenagers over $20. Since then, Janet Hansen has raised 5 children on her own. It hasn't been easy because Alan Hansen was considered a subcontractor. The Hansens have lost 3 court battles to get compensation from the cab company. Last month, Janet lost her job as a nurse, and now the mortgage company wants to foreclose on the home Janet bought with her husband 9 years ago.
I mean, thank goodness for family. Otherwise, I'd be sitting there all by myself, you know. But these kids they make me proud.
Janet Hansen plans to take her battle to the Supreme Court. She says her husband's memory and sticking together as a family has brought them this far.
No matter what we do, we're always reminded that he's missing it. And, like, one thing that's hard for us is when we all get married, we're not going to have him to give us away. So it's always a constant reminder in the back of our head that he's always missing stuff with us.
Both girls would like to continue their educations. Amy would like to go to cosmetology school. Heather's actually already been accepted to the University of New Haven. Problem is, their mother doesn't know how she's going to pay for it.
It's been a hard 7 years. And they've come such a long way, I don't want to see it go to waste.
Yeah.
So the family will once again pull together to cross this next milestone. The Hansens' attorney is trying to get their case heard in the Supreme Court right now. Al?
All right, Tracy Martinez, live in Brantford tonight. Thanks.
O.J. Simpson's prized Heisman Trophy has reportedly been found, but nobody's saying who has it. Lawyers for O.J. Simpson, the Brown family, and the Goldman family argued today over which of Simpson's possessions will and will not be used to pay the $33.5 million civil judgment. Now, the ex-football player has about 100 items he wants to keep, but offered to reduce the number if his murdered ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson's family, would get first crack at the property. This has put the two families at odds.
The lawyer for the Brown family and the lawyer for Mr. Simpson are working very closely together and colluding together and to do everything they can to frustrate my client's ability to enforce this judgment.
The Superior Court judge didn't give either family priority over Simpson's assets. Lawyers say it will be a while before any of Simpson's property is actually sold. The state of Virginia drops murder charges against a man after a state lab admitted making a mistake with evidence. Carl Roche had been accused in the abduction and killing of a 16-year-old girl. The case was based largely on fiber evidence taken from the girl's body and from the van the man drove. But last week, after an FBI review, the state crime lab admitted the fibers didn't match.
The state of Florida, a target for wicked weather recently, and today it happened again. Authorities say a tornado touched down briefly in the Fort Lauderdale suburb of Tamarack. The twister flipped one car and damaged the roofs of some buildings. It also ripped through one of those personal storage shed facilities, scattering furniture and other belongings.
Heavy rains are bringing flash flooding to southern Texas and leaving some people stranded in the high waters. Helicopters had to be used to rescue them. Meteorologists say the strong thunderstorms could continue through the night, which could mean even more flooding there.
And people along the Snake River in eastern Idaho are trying to avoid a major disaster. They're working to strengthen dikes and levees where water has covered thousands of acres of cropland already and forced nearly 500 people from their homes. No such problems around here. Hilton Kaderli has a first look at Connecticut's most accurate forecast.
Val, Donna, we have revised downward one of the numbers we gave you earlier today. This evening at 5 and 6, we were saying the overnight low would be around 56 degrees. Now, it looks like it's going to be just a tad cooler than that, let's say 54. Some spots already in the low 50s. When you wake up in the morning, temperatures generally in the 50s to near 60 with mostly cloudy skies and just a slight chance of a shower around. During the day, chance of a midday shower, readings in the mid to upper 70s, and still chance of showers persists into tomorrow afternoon and evening with temperatures in the 70s. That doesn't sound like summer, but it isn't summer yet. Summer arrives on Saturday, and we'll let you know in a few minutes whether it'll feel like summer or not. Donna?
See you in a bit. Thanks, Hilton. A scaffolding accident leaves 2 painters suspended by their safety harnesses for a harrowing 3 hours. Take a look. This happening 300 feet above the Las Vegas Strip on the 29th floor. Spectators watched as fellow workers jockeyed the 2 men to a window and were finally able to pull the 2 men to safety. The 2 were rescued, shaken, but they were not injured. Also making news around America tonight, an Ohio mother is charged with neglecting her children while she sat at her computer, apparently hooked on the internet. The 24-year-old woman is accused of leaving her 3 young children locked in her room for hours at a time so she wouldn't be disturbed. The kids were found terribly soiled in their own excrement with all kinds of debris surrounding them. They're now in their father's custody.
Also in Ohio, a condemned killer says he doesn't want to waste any time. The 34-year-old inmate is asking to be executed. He doesn't want to go through years of appeals. Now, a judge in Cleveland has ruled the man is mentally competent. All that's left now is for the Ohio Supreme Court to give its approval.
And 2 new developments concerning the badly burned Betty Shabazz. 4 newspapers are challenging a court ruling that closes the trial of her 12-year-old grandson. He's accused of setting the fire that critically injured Shabazz earlier this month. Also, a fundraising campaign for Shabaz's medical bills is expected to be announced tomorrow. The widow of Malcolm X has undergone 5 surgeries to replace burned skin.
Tomorrow's the 25th anniversary of an event that changed American politics forever, the Watergate break-in. It was June 17th of 1972 that burglars with electronic surveillance equipment and cameras were caught after breaking into the Democratic Party headquarters at Washington's Watergate complex. Their arrest sparked an investigation which exposed a cover-up involving high government officials, and it ultimately led to the resignation of President Richard Nixon.
A possible new way to prevent cataracts, and it could involve your favorite drink. The details are coming up on the Health Beat.
Also on the Night Beat tonight, your average neighborhood nuisance is not responsible for what you see here. See little criminals.